Hello.
Good morning, Andy.
Hello there, sir.
Mm, how are you doing?
Oh man, I've had a crazy week.
Yeah, I could say mine's been interesting too. Interesting as well. So my car got totaled yesterday.
Oh my God. I hope you
Yep.
weren't in it.
No, a fender bender last week. It
Yeah.
dented the trunk like 1/2 inch or an inch or something like that. Pushed the bumper in, and they're like, "Oh, it's too expensive to fix."
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
it's
Are you gonna
ridiculous.
Are you gonna drive the car with a dent in it, or
No, I can't close the trunk.
oh, you can't close the
The,
trunk? Oh, okay.
no, so it's flopping around.
Well, isn't that gay?
That sucks.
Stupid.
That
Oh my bad.
sucks.
I'm sorry. We're live. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Whoops.
My
Yeah.
bad.
The clock hit 6:30, so I tried to get online on time. And now they can look at our pretty faces.
Yeah.
See,
See,
if it were just if there so tomorrow you will get your mic in or your camera in and your makeup light, and you'll be able. Then it'll be just a two head shot, and we can use this other one, this
yeah.
that one. Then we can
Yeah.
be heads up and actually have like a normal-ish conversation.
Yeah. No kidding.
Uh,
I
so for
still have this
now,
microphone in my face. I think.
oh, that's okay. People
Yeah.
like it. It allows them to visualize things. I think.
Yeah. Hello there.
Sounds great. That's a good sounding mic. Oh man.
What's going
So,
on?
well, now I'm trying to find a car for the pittance that I'm going to get back from my vehicle in this car market.
Um. I actually had a little fender bender. Well, it's been a bit ago. And she it dented her it dented her hood almost like the same way you're talking about with your trunk, probably because we got to look and the hood will latch, but it won't go down all the way. It's kind of sticking up a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, and my brother and I started looking, and it's the frame is actually bent up. The whole thing. We were looking to get a new hood, and we were, calling around and all this stuff. But we looked, and it's the frame that's actually bent up. It's kind of, and it would be a whole. I mean, we looked at it and we were like, oh my, you would have to have a welder break these welds, weld this whole piece back on, to get this
Yeah.
frame on here just to make this thing. And he was like, I don't think we could hit it and knock it down to make it. So we're kind of in the same, we're not in the same boat, but
Uh,
it's the same
sucks.
situation with it.
What kind of car does she have?
A Toyota Matrix, an older Toyota
Oh,
Matrix,
really?
which has
And they
been
weld
just
that?
a wonderful car, man. This car is probably, I have to say, one of the best cars we've ever had, and we bought it used. So it's great. She loves the car. It will run forever if you take care of it. I think it's got 350. It's got about 350,000 miles on it.
Wow. I've heard good things about Toyota. I've heard that they take care of their engines really good, and they take care of like the cars last a good long
Yeah,
time.
even for people that don't have any knowledge of car stuff and just let their cars run, without changing the oil and stuff like that, they run very well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I've heard of people like never changing the oil, and even though that should like destroy your car. I don't know why people would do that, but yeah, I've heard of things like that. Like some young people, they get a car and they don't even understand that they're supposed to change the oil. I
They
guess they
probably
never read
never
the
taught,
manual.
yeah, or they were never taught. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh
I'm eating. I've
boy.
got to eat this morning. I forgot to eat, and I've got to eat as soon as I get up. I usually don't eat, but I'm
Well,
diabetic, and I
yeah, you
have
got to keep
to.
your blood sugar
Yeah. So I have to like force
regulated.
food down in the morning. It's a pain in the butt. I don't get hungry. I have to force food down. I don't enjoy food anymore. Peanut butter.
That What about bacon?
I love bacon. Yeah, bacon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh wow, this is an
That always
awful story you brought us. You brought us this one.
the rainwater
This is
one.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
bad.
I was looking at that this morning. I was like, "Well, yikes! Tell your kids not to
Oh
drink rain anymore." I
crap.
guess.
I drank rainwater when I was a kid.
I did too.
All right.
I know people
So
that drink rainwater today,
yeah.
like off the grid type people.
Well, good morning to Colin has a beard.
What's
He
up,
says
dude?
so close to the weekend. Thank God.
Yes,
I feel like this weekend is going to be just as exhausting as this week for us over here.
I get a birthday present this weekend. I think it was a birthday present. Um,
Yeah.
for my birthday this year, back in the 1st of June, Ashley and the kids got me tickets to see a big band that I've wanted to see. Can I tell a funny story? You're going to get a kick out of this.
Please.
All
Oh,
right, so
hold on.
Colin
Here we go.
and the people, Ghost Dog, what's up? All right, so you're going to get a kick out of the story. This is all true. So about 5, 6 years ago, a buddy of mine called me up, high school buddy. We'd been, knowing each other for a long time. He's like, "Hey man, I've got some Red Hot Chili Pepper tickets. Do you want to go?" I was like, "Well, hell yes, I want to go."
Yeah.
Yes, I want to go. And he's like, "All right,
Right.
cool. So we're going to go up in Illinois and we're going to see him." And he was like, his daughter got him, and she was a big soccer player too in high school, and she got this big soccer something. So he had an extra ticket. And so I was like, "Sure, I'll go." So as we were pulling out of his driveway, he stopped and he said, I said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to check the tickets and make sure I got everything before we actually hit the road." And I was like, "All right, good." And so we're sitting there and I kind of laughed and I said, "Man," I said, "I just read a story on Reddit not too long ago about this couple, and this guy had gotten his girlfriend, his wife, these Red Hot Chili Peppers tickets over in England somewhere, and they were on a train going to see, going to the concert." And he got out the tickets and he looked, and it wasn't the Red Hot Chili Peppers, it was the Red Hot Chili Pipers, a group
Oh,
of bagpipers. That
that is a.
So we laughed. We were like, "Man, that's hilarious." And he looked down at his tickets, and we had Red Hot Chili Pipers tickets, not Peppers, Pipers tickets. And we were like, "You have got to be freaking kidding me." Right after I told him this story, it was like a cosmic television show. And so we were like, "Screw it, let's go see it anyway." So we drove up there, and it's a damn bunch of bagpipers that I don't think I have any Scottish ancestry in me, because squeezing a goose sounds exactly like a bagpipe to me. There's only one bagpipe songs that have ever sounded good, and that's Amazing Grace. I
Mm,
just and I have to suffer through it. I don't like the sound of a bagpipe. You may Ashley and them love it. Kendra loves it. I don't. I don't. So I did not enjoy the Red Hot Chili Pipers. It took me. It was just a bunch of bagpipe squeals before I realized. And then the guy got up there and he said, "Every girl's crazy about a sharp dress, man." I looked at my buddy. I was like, "Oh, that's freaking ZZ Top." Oh, okay. So they played everything but a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. So when we got
wow.
back, the kids and Ashley thought that that was the grandest, hilarious story they'd ever seen, they'd ever heard. And, they'll get me little Red Hot Chili Peppers things when they see it. And I've got, they get me Red Hot Chili Peppers t-shirts sometimes as gifts to kind of poke at me. Well, for my birthday this year, the Chili Peppers are actually going to be in Nashville at Nissan Stadium this Friday, in 2 days. And, they got me tickets for my birthday to go see the Peppers. So me
Wow.
and Ashley
Oh,
are
congratulations.
to see the Chili Peppers
Is
on Friday.
that that is I mean that's probably a good show, but you didn't
Yeah,
enjoy the
no,
bagpipers? Did you
I did
sit through the
not enjoy
bagpipers
it.
show?
Yeah, we sat through most of the Bagpipers show, and I listened to, or I had a beer. I had a beer. I'm sorry, Colin. Yeah, with a name like Colin, I would guess. But Colin, I'm sorry, Colin, and that's I have no ill will towards the bagpipe. It looks like a very complicated instrument to play. I have much respect for it, and those people that play it. It's just not for me, man. I can only take like this much. Well, some people can like, "I can't listen to country music." Cool. I'm not going to pressure you. I understand.
Right.
I can't listen to that type of music very long. So That's my funny Red
All
Hot
right.
Chili Peppers story this morning. That
I mean,
really happened to me. I'm not making that. And since then, I've seen story after story after story of these people that are like, we thought we were going to the Chili Peppers and we saw the Chili Pipers, and I'm like, yeah, them sons of bitches need to get sued. But you really can't, because it's our fault for not seeing peppers. We seen pipers.
I wonder. I wonder if they have a yeah. They have a website even. They got a red hot. They got a Scottish website. Oh wow,
What
it's
does
too
everybody
much.
say? Ghost Dog said, I mean, bagpipers would be great if you're expecting it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I really didn't know what to think.
You would think that at the very least they could cover some Chili Pepper songs.
That's what I thought. I was like, man, at least we'll get a Chili Peppers song or something. But no, they probably that's with rights and stuff like that. I
I
don't know.
mean,
Anthony Kiedis and them are pretty. They're pretty crazy. But I don't know. They're pretty sticklers. They had an ongoing feud with uh, Faith No More's lead singer. I can't think of his name right now. It's driving me crazy. Any other time I come up with his name, but he's an unbelievable singer. And Mike Patton from Faith No More and Red Hot Chili Peppers had a feud for the longest time, and it was the Chili Peppers were like, you saw their antics, and you're kind of like, really? Okay.
yeah. I mean, at the time it seemed really uh, edgy, right? But I
Yeah.
think now it would be pedestrian even.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they may not even make the news.
All right. So do you have a
Hmm.
news story?
We got news. We got some news. And I know you love talking politics, and I know you love conspiracy theories. So the first one up
I don't
is going
believe
to
in
be a
conspiracy
nice.
theories.
Oh, you don't believe in them?
No, not at all.
Okay, good, good. Because that way you can talk me out of it.
Okay.
Let's flip the script,
All right.
and you can talk me out of any sort of conspiracy theory here. From just the news,
Mm.
judge who reportedly approved the Mar-a-Lago search warrant was linked to Epstein, and he donated to Obama.
What judge in the country is not on the left? I mean, what do you
Uh,
think the ratio of
oh,
judges are in this country
well,
that could
an-
approve something like this? I mean, the big judge in our state is that stops everything is pretty left, pretty far left.
so
Anytime anything happens in our state, this one judge from Franklin County stops it. And he's got some sort of power. I don't understand. He's got some sort of power to do that, but he's very far left. And the judge has always been left, it seems. So this is not
so
surprising.
right, okay. So and from my what I remember from studying courts in the U.S. is that as judges hold office, the longer they hold it, the more leftward they tend to track politically. So they
Yes.
may start off conservative and they kind of drift moderate, or if they're moderate, they drift left. And most judges are lawyers, and then they become judges late a little bit later in their career.
Yep.
No different for this fella who was U.S. magistrate Judge Bruce E. Reinhardt. He represented employees of Jeffrey Epstein after leaving the U.S. Attorney's Office and immediately went to work for Epstein. He was a federal prosecutor and he left the U.S. Attorney's Office on like January 2nd and immediately went to work for Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein Associates.
Yuck.
So, yeah, no kidding. Uh, The federal judge who reportedly approved the FBI search warrant for former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate was linked with Jeffrey Epstein and donated to Barack Obama. Maybe I need to remind everybody. Jeffrey Epstein was, of course, the billionaire, human trafficking, sex trafficking, perhaps blackmail acquiring,
Huh.
uh,
Huh. Huh.
renowned criminal that ran a sex exploit island and invited the likes of Bill Clinton and you name it, and if they're who's
Every
who of anyone.
Hollywood star
Yeah,
that you subscribe to on Instagram. Yeah,
and
they went
he
there and
was
molested children for
after
fun.
after Epstein was arrested and charged. He unfortunately was suicided while the cameras were broken and the guards were asleep.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah. So
In my story, though, I would have changed that whole situation a little bit. I would have made like the guards sitting there in front of Epstein's cell. I like to imagine that the guards were sitting there in front of his cell. Well, and they were guarding him 24/7, right? So they're sitting there like royal guards, and a cute little kitty cat walks by with a little bell on and goes around the
mhm.
corner, and the guards are like, "Aw," and they go around the corner, and then that's when he suicided.
Yeah,
I like to spice it up a little bit in my mind. I
yeah.
mean, come on, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
they got distracted. They got distracted with a
Yeah,
cartoon plot.
yeah,
Okay,
with the
like
cartoon plot. Yeah, that's right.
from like
That's
Tom and
a
Jerry.
a lady down the street was cooking a really nice smelling pie, and they started smelling it, and they just kinda
Oh,
floated off.
oh,
They
yeah,
just kind of
that's what
floated
happened.
away towards the pie, and
Okay,
then Jeffrey Epstein was suicided.
all right. So this judge, he never represented Epstein himself. He only represented Jeffrey Epstein's
Oh,
pilots um,
oh, oh,
that would
oh. Fly
fly.
the molesters
Yeah,
down there,
right.
the
Yes,
pedophiles down there. So they were the
yes,
pedophile pilots.
yes.
Okay.
Just transport. It's only logistics. They didn't personally do anything wrong.
Okay, so we don't need to be as harsh on them.
So,
Did they get a get out of jail free card because
I
they
mean,
only
I don't know,
flew
but he
pedophiles down
definitely
to
he
destroy
definitely
children's lives?
signs the get into Mar-a-Lago free.
Oh, okay. Well,
So, yeah,
I don't know the rules. That's why I keep asking. I don't know the rule. I'm just going by what
nobody
I think
does.
is right. And obviously what I think is right is not right because I don't think you should do stuff like that. But what the hell do I know? I'm an
Yeah, I
idiot.
don't think anybody knows the rules. We all think we know the rules, and then something like this happens, and you're like,
And
"This
we do
this is
nothing
part of
about
our."
it. We do nothing about
Yeah,
it. That's what's disgusted me this whole time with everybody is that we done nothing about it. We're like, "Hey, this is bad. Isn't this bad?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, this is bad." And they're like, "Oh, look at this celebrity. Look at Pete Davidson. Isn't he funny?" What about these? You you really think he killed himself? Are we just gonna are we not gonna do anything? Are we gonna have this little fake trial for this Madam Gisele Cachipi Chapoopy
yeah,
Maxwell or whatever, and we're just gonna be like, "Oh, we put her in jail and we told her, 'Shame, shame, we know your name.'" Oh, really? Really? I mean,
yeah.
it too
They must have her client list, and they won't release it
it's
because
got
it'll be
see,
politically damaging.
I'm not a freaking I don't know, maybe I'm not smart. Maybe I am an idiot. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe I am an
Mhm.
idiot. And because I think there's more to this and I don't just drink the Kool-Aid and say, "Okay, maybe that is what makes me an idiot." But the little thing that we commented on last week that about Epstein being working for either the CIA or the Mossad or somebody to gather information on high profile people, that to me was like the keystone. That made so much sense. Everything just locked into place and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Everything makes sense now." So, I don't know. I don't understand why, as a society, we haven't just been like outraged at this yet. This just shows you how stupid we are, as just
Mm,
how much we can just. This is what we are nowadays as a society.
yeah, it's so here. This part of the story says, as of Tuesday, Reinhardt's webpage is no longer accessible on the district court's website, which instead displays the message reading "Access denied. You're not authorized to access this page." All of the other magistrate judges' pages were available, so it looks like the
He's getting
United
some.
States District Court, Southern District of Florida, is turtling up around Judge Bruce E. Reinhardt. So
I feel sorry
turtling
for
up,
him.
taking
I feel
cover.
sorry
Maybe
for
they,
any
you know
kind of.
what it is? They probably don't want Antifa and Black Lives Matter protesters outside of his office because you know how they really protest the child sex stuff and you know they're real hard on justices. That's probably what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you
Yeah. Well.
which law is it? Was it? It's Newton's law of motion. That every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So I feel sorry for Mr. Bruce Jenner or Renner or Reinhardt or
Oh.
whatever his name is. I feel sorry
Wow.
for all these people.
That's you got some cables crossed there.
I'm sorry. Well, so did they.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Ching.
All
That
right.
was a good one. Come on. Oh man. I'll be
Yeah.
here all week.
So we'll continue to watch this. The results of this raid. I'm gonna put better than even odds that nothing of significance comes out of the raid on Mr. Trump, and the entire establishment continues to fail to prove that he ever committed any sort of crime, much less something that they could keep him from running for president on.
I'm not a
So,
betting man, JJ. I don't gamble, but
right.
I would bet the farm that you are correct. I'm not a
They've lost
betting man
every
either.
single time. They've impeached him twice. They have had this January 6th committee for like 3 months. It found that not only found nothing, they presented a Harvard study that indicated that the people that participated in January 6th riot thought they were helping the country, not an insurrection. So nobody at the insurrection riot was armed. So there's no evidence. They fail again and again and again to uh, implicitly, convict him in any way of anything criminal. And the whole thing is that they're trying to trip him up on this no, not a constitute, on this legislative statute that says that people convicted of certain crimes are ineligible to hold office.
Yeah, yeah,
That's all it
that's what I
is.
was seeing going around yesterday on Reddit, and
And
that's what they were talking
Hillary
about.
did
They're
it.
like, "Remember
Hillary
when
had
you did this 18 times, Mr. President?" It's like, "Yeah." What
yeah,
what are you getting at? Do you really want us to start? I mean, do we really want both sides to start picking out stuff that people said? I mean, really? Because then
mm,
we're not getting anywhere. We're just look at what I got and look at
no,
it turns into middle school arguments if you think about it every
it's
single
true.
time. There's no, and when we do have two people that have a logical conversation, I watched Matt Walsh talk with a trans person the other day, and they had the most civil, logical, respectful conversation. And everybody was like, "Can you believe this happened?" We live in a society when somebody does something good, we praise them for it. We should all be doing something good all the damn time.
Right,
A nice, kind action should not get 20 times praise for it because we should be doing them all the time.
right.
You know?
We have a culture that has been uh, rotted for quite a while. All
If I
right, so
stop and help somebody on the side of the road fix their tire because they're struggling, or it's an older person on the side of the road and I stop to fix their tire, I should not get a freaking medal. I shouldn't get
right,
anything for that. I should have, please ma'am, pass it on. We should do good. Sorry, I'll get
yeah.
off.
I mean,
I
we
don't
should we
understand.
should be we should be kind and do good to our neighbors, and we should not be running them through the mud
There,
constantly
there's an
and
old saying.
assuming.
Sorry, there's just an old saying that I always say, and I think I still have it up on my Discord. Let me go to my Discord. If you go to my Discord profile, yeah, this is this old saying. I put it in there a long time ago. If you go to the About Me saying, it's the old saying. It says, "Do good and throw it in the sea." That is an old saying that says, "Do good and forget about it. Do not expect anything in return. Do something good and don't expect a thank you or anything. You know, do good and throw it in the sea and keep going."
That's a good saying. I never heard that before, actually.
I've had that on my profile on my for a while now, a long time.
Well, you spoke about doing nothing a little while ago, and you would be surprised at what doing nothing can accomplish. For instance, it turns out that if there's a federal study that said that ending unemployment aid spurred a substantial rise in employment. So if you do not pay people to not work, they go get jobs.
I wonder, did we spend $50,000 on a study to show that?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Let's find out about this study. Uh,
The
uh,
sun is hot and water is wet.
yeah. So during the
Or
pandemic,
blue.
federal and state governments created special unemployment insurance programs. States that ended pandemic unemployment aid saw a substantial rise in unemployment in employment, according to a recent working paper from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. The study, which used data from 46 states and Washington D.C., found that in the 3 months following the state's emergency unemployment benefits termination, employment increased by about 37 people for every 100-person reduction in the EUB recipient receipts. Let's check this study out real quick, and we'll come
Yeah, a
back.
little over 30%, a little over 1/3. Yeah, makes sense.
How do I tell who paid for this study and how much it cost? Oh wow, that's a nice graph, but I don't think you can see the graph. You can't see the graph yet. All right, so the act of halting by a state was, on average, associated with a substantial rise in employment and a substantial decline in the number of unemployment insurance recipients relative to other months. I mean, this is amazing. Well, we should have learned about this a long time ago, don't you think, Deacon? Who could have predicted something like this?
That is really one of those things that's unpredictable, JJ.
We are governed by fucking morons. I mean, the stupidest people in the world are in charge of all of us. Of course. Of course. Of course. This is so dumb. And you're right. We probably shelled out a bunch of money for this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, somebody got $100,000 to study this. I read about those studies all the time, and there's some that are really legitimate. Like you look at some and they're like, "Oh, we're studying this," and you're like, "Why the hell are you studying this?" And they're like, "Well, because this causes this is this." Oh, okay, I understand now why you're studying. But there's some crap that you're like, like this one. You want to throw up this other story that I threw out? I was wanting to save that one for the
Oh,
end, but
where where
it
is
kind of
the where
segues
is
to it pretty good.
Oh, I didn't catch that one. Do you want to do that
Oh,
one?
yeah, just because it segues into it, because this sounds like something that you would see. A
You
hundred
talking about, are you
thousand
talking
dollar government study shows that you can calm down your dog with reggae music. And it's like you spent
Hang on.
what on
Let
what?
me grab that one.
I just thought this was cool. I have some older
Yeah.
dogs, and that get a little nervous and anxious all the time. And
How to calm your dog in the car
do
with
you want me to
music.
pull it up? Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can do it. That way you can drive. I don't mind. Here, go ahead. Pull it up.
Um,
Throw it up there.
damn it, you're gonna make me do
I need
stuff,
to take a second.
JK. Okay. Let me see
I
if I
believe in you, Deacon. You can do this.
did it work. It worked. Hi. Okay, so yeah, I saw this story and I thought it was most people have dogs. And I thought this was really cool. JJ's got a new little dog. I have a half pit, half Dalmatian, and his name is Chance, and he is the goodest, dumbest, lickiest, smartest. He's the greatest. He's so cute, and he's wouldn't hurt a fly, and he looks mean, and he barks mean, but he wouldn't hurt a fly. And little dude, our other dog, dude, is a little Jack Russell Terrier mix, and he shakes. He's nervous all the time. So, this expert revealed best and worst doggy playlists to keep your anxious pet pooch relaxed on long car rides. I hate that, but I'm going to read it verbatim. The this I thought was pretty good, and I'm a music person, and I love sound and sound waves, and I think it's something that we have barely scratched the surface on communicating with sound and sound waves and stuff like that. It's so interesting. So dogs, dogs and cats and animals can hear a lot different than we humans can hear on the spectrum. So if they're saying if your dog gets stressed out on long car rides, to put on some particular music. The Bee Gees, "How Deep Is Your Love" is one. They said one of the other ones is "No Woman, No Cry" by the legendary Bob Marley. Brian Adams' big hit, "Everything I Do It For You." That's the Robin Hood song. Remember the Robin Hood movie with Kevin Costner? That's that song. And then Foreigners, "I Want to Know What Love Is." And those are all good songs, but to me, they're, with the exception of "No Woman, No Cry," they're all songs that I can only hear a couple of times before it starts to make me want to rip out my ears. So, oh, goodness gracious. JJ is not here, and I have to go on the air. So you are going to get to hear me go on the air here real quick. So we're just going to do this on the air. K95.7 WCCK. We are just after 7 o'clock. It is a Wednesday morning. Stick around 9 o'clock today for what's going on. Gail Hall coming up at 9. We'll have a couple of guests in the studio. Out to the Calvert Cafe this morning and get yourself a good breakfast. They've got the grab and go breakfast special ready at the window this morning. Drive up and get you a bacon, egg, and cheese, a sausage, egg, and cheese, or a full order of biscuits and gravy, coffee or soft drink for $3.75. Up until 10 o'clock, you can get your breakfast, and then get all the Facebook specials over there on their Facebook page, and desserts and all that mess. Miss Kim and them will post that here in just a couple of hours. They'll get the lunch specials on there. All right, so this week we are playing songs from brand new album. It just came out Friday. Something Borrowed, Some New. It's a tribute to John Anderson. And if you are a John Anderson fan, which you should be, this has got some really good stuff on it. Watched the Opry live over the weekend, and it featured some of these newer artists on there that have covered and redone some of his songs. So our covered dish today comes from Ashley McBride in a beautiful version of Straight Tequila Night. How is that, everybody? How is that? How many people were watching? 2? All right, let me close this and get back to our dog story. Let me make sure I'm not going out of the air. Okay, there we go. All right, so dogs, yeah, dogs. No Woman, No Cry. Brian Adams, "Everything I Do for You." Foreigners, "I Want to Know Loviness." I'm pretty much guessing that it has to do with the tones and the levels. They say try to stay away from high pitched songs, maybe songs with whistling. They say the interesting thing they witnessed was dogs displayed positive behavioral changes when exposed to certain music types. Reggae and soft rock appear to have been the canine tunes of choice. I love reggae. Love reggae. Reggae. I got to see. We went to a reggae festival in St. Louis years and years ago, and one of the Marley boys was there. And I can't remember now who it was. And we got to see Toots and the Maidels and somebody else. I mean, it was pretty good. So reggae is a JJ. You like reggae? I can't hear you. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
I love it, man.
No,
She's
no, you
my
don't.
favorite.
Oh, reggae music and soft rock are supposed to. They have seen positive behavioral changes in dogs, like that get really stressed. So if you have dogs that go on long car rides or stuff like that, they say you could play this music. They said they polled dog owners, and they were glad to see that 81% of dog owners would change our listening habits to ensure that your dog doesn't, get upset on the car ride. Stay away from
By get upset, do you mean cramp the seat while you're in the car?
well, stress causes dogs can cause them illness. So yeah,
Uh,
I mean, yeah, right there. Yeah. 26% admit that they didn't know stress can actually make their dog sick by weakening their immune system. becoming familiar with cars. Right? They talk about if you're gonna,
Yeah.
um, but looky
Well,
there.
you know
So
what? We play music for our dogs, especially if we're going to be out. If we're in a hotel, if we're
yeah,
in a hotel, we always turn on the channel to like music channel or something. And
yeah, yeah.
a lot of times, if we leave or if we have guests over that are not comfortable with dogs, we'll put the dogs upstairs and we'll turn on dog soothing dog music. There's like uh, whole Spotify or YouTube music channels or whatever that are like soothing music for dogs.
Really?
Yeah, they are. We do that all the time because just kind of lulls the dog a little bit. Of course, if you're a wild man, you might put on Tim Pool's Chicken City. So a lot of people do that too. It's on YouTube. They'll turn on the TV, turn on YouTube, put it on Chicken City, and the dogs can just watch chickens in a chicken coop, and they just watch chickens, and the chickens
That's
cluck. You'd think it's like that's not appealing at all, but there's a lot of people that watch that. It's crazy. And dogs, they turn it on for their dogs. They'll leave it on for their dogs all day, and the dogs can just watch chickens.
Well, I love sound, of course, radio, and I've always been fascinated with how do dogs hear music? Do they? How do animals hear music? Do they hear it the same as we do? There was something that we found in the 2000s. It's probably been 20 years, but they were listening to with the technology that we have now. They were listening to elephants trumpet, and then they were seeing all these sounds that we don't hear, and it was on a
Right.
register that humans do not hear, but we can see it with our instruments and stuff now. And it was like elephants talk to each other all the time. They're making all kinds of noises and sounds, we just can't hear them. And so it makes me wonder, with these different songs and stuff. Of course, it's the different tones and the vibrations that they cause and whatnot, because the dogs get, they can hear crap that we can't hear, especially with the higher pitches. So they say, some of the worst songs to play are those higher
Oh,
pitched. And I can see these metal
yeah.
songs being, not good songs for. Oh, and I kind of,
Supersonic screeching of some kind,
yeah,
like
and I kind of with Chop
especially
Suey
these
by
that
System
run
of a
that.
Down, yeah. And Paranoid, Ozzy's kind of screaming in that, but not real. I mean, there's not some high pitches in some of these Ace of Spades. They're and so some of these are not. I can definitely make you a top 10 that I think would be a lot worse. But I've had this argument with people for a long time. It almost says they're saying the same thing about dogs that they do with the people argument. People will say, heavy metal, how can you listen to heavy metal music? It makes me anxious. And me, my brother, and I've had a plethora of other people say that metalheads say the same thing. It it calms me down to listen to
Mm,
that music, to listen to Master of Puppets, and to listen to Master of
mhm,
Puppets ain't even like really hard metal in my opinion.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
no, it really Master of Puppets is not hard metal in my opinion. There's a lot harder, but it calms me down for some reason. I don't. I listen to I listen to the drummers and the bass players. So I'm listening to
Right.
the musicianship of the
I would
song.
I would guess that some of the side effect sounds from the guitars are what would really set the dogs off. Like
Yeah,
Metallica
yeah,
plays some like super fast guitars, but they also play a little some of the notes and strings are a little dirty, and
yeah.
they even
Well,
like run the pick along the line, so it makes these other
James
sounds.
James and Kirk's like signature sound is that dual harmony playing, whatever they're, and they're both playing the same and it's doubled up. That's like the
Mhm.
signature. That's a signature Metallica sound. And yeah, I can see that with because they all hit together. I can see where that could
Right.
probably mess with the dogs. But some of these other songs, I mean, I can only listen to some Bee Gees, the Gibbs brothers. I have so much respect for them, but I can only listen to their music for so
Yeah,
long. And there's
I'm
some of
not
these other stuff.
seeing. I'm not seeing
Yeah, I
songs
mean,
that I would put on the loop my house. I
Sade,
would not want.
Sade is.
No.
I mean, you want to go to sleep and have some good sexy time music.
Oh, look. Hey, Brian Adams got on the list.
Yeah,
Everything I
yeah,
do, I'll do it for
everything I
you.
do. That damn radio's
Oh,
played that song out in the freaking
yes.
80s and
All
90s,
right.
man.
That's
God
good.
Almighty. So
Good
there you
stuff.
go. And then look,
All
Kate
right.
Bush made an appearance again. For somebody that has worked in radio for 30 years, let me tell you that what I've had to tell all these Stranger Things and my kids, all these Stranger Things fans and my kids. No, that song that is now on the radio, that's a huge Kate Bush song from the 80s that was on that movie, that song was never on the radio. It was never a hit. I'm having to tell my kids, I'm like, yes, that song was a hit. No, that song was not a hit. My son will
They are
come in all the time.
fabricating history right in front of you. They
Yeah.
are they are inventing history.
Yeah, my son comes in. It was the other day. I think it was. He said, "Have you ever heard of this band, Alice in Chains?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Of
I may
course.
have seen them live."
All right.
All right, so there's
All right.
yeah, play some reggae for your dog if it gets anxious.
So take us on the rainwater story, and then we got a couple of pop culture stuff from Bounding into Comics.
Let me pull up the rainwater story. I just got this one this morning, and I thought that we might need something to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, rain, rain everywhere, and not a drop to drink. Isn't that how the old little thing says?
Yeah, if you're like in
Rain.
the ocean.
Did you drink rain as a kid?
I mean, I've run
Rain
around
ball.
outside with I've done that. Yeah, there was a lot
Yeah.
of there was a lot of running around. No rain, no raincoat, no umbrella, no just being outside, getting rained on.
And a lot of off the grid type people will, and not even off the grid type people, collect rainwater.
Yes, that's
And
true.
some countries have to use rainwater. It says rainwater almost everywhere on Earth now has unsafe levels of what they're calling forever chemicals, according to new research. This is from Euronews.green. I don't know what the JJW
Oh yeah,
score
hold
is.
on. Let me pull that up on NewsGuard. Let's see what NewsGuard has to say about this place.
News.
57 out of 100. They
Ooh.
do not collect. They do not gather and present information responsibly. They do not disclose the ownership of their website. They don't label advertising. They don't tell you who's in charge. But they do not repeatedly publish false content. So they have 57 out of 100. I think that's still better than CNN. Let me see what CNN is. CNN. Oh no, CNN is adored by NewsGuard. They
Oh,
are at 80 out of 100.
once
Okay.
again,
Yeah.
CNN's got an 80, Yahoo's got 100. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
We're just letting you YouTube people know this is what
Yeah.
this particular
This is
score is in case
yeah.
you're whatever. It's not
I'm
that
not
we
I'm not endorsing NewsGuard. I'm just
yeah,
I'm
no,
defending
we're not.
us
I don't
for putting
like
stories on there. These are
I don't
real news
like
stories.
NewsGuard to be honest. But NewsGuard, yeah, whatever. Per is it per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFSAs, are these human-made chemicals that don't occur in nature. And so we've called them forever chemicals because we all can't pronounce fluoroalkyl.
Mm-hmm.
So these forever chemicals don't break down in the environment. And these are like non-stick chemicals and stain repellent chemicals and stuff. They say these kinds of things are in food packaging, electronics, cosmetics, cookware. I can see it in every bit. Yeah, I mean, if certain food packaging has nonstick crap in it, and yeah, you want that kind of stuff on
Well,
some of your
I don't
electronics
know.
and stuff.
I don't know if the nonstick coating on frying pans is indicative of forever chemicals, but let me tell you, that stuff does not last forever. it's that stuff comes right off. You use a
The
pan long enough, and it don't nonstick at all.
They were supposed to have those off of pans by we might have reached that year.
Oh,
They had
really?
like yeah, they said like 20 years ago that shit caused cancer. And we were cooking that chemical into all of our foods. And they were like,
Sweet.
"Oh yeah, yeah, that causes cancer. Y'all don't need to use that anymore." And Teflon, and they were like, "Yeah, Teflon causes cancer, so y'all need to get that out of your pans." But y'all have until like 2020 or something. You can look it up. They had a long time. And so now we're not supposed to have Teflons, but if you go to a yard sale or you go something like that and you buy some for somebody that's just starting college or whatnot, yeah, they're going to have Teflon on it. And I mean, yeah, it's It's terrible. That's a whole nother argument that I say. How come cancer is running wild and made such a huge spike? And it's because in my dad's time, they when he was a kid, the farmer would go out to the field every day, and they didn't spray stuff on. They didn't have seeds that were covered. They had to go do the weeds every day and do this every day. And now the farmers get out there and they have bugs and weeds and everything, and they've got these chemicals and they spray it on, and we're told that they don't cause cancer and they don't cause any harm. And we're fed that they don't cause cancer and they don't cause any harm. I've gotten into feverish arguments with friends of mine who were farmers that were just swearing by their chemicals and whatnot. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry. 4 out of 5 doctors say Marlboro does not, I mean, I just saw a thing the other day where it was saying back in the 80s, here's a picture of all the tobacco executives swearing that tobacco was not an addictive substance. And, we've been lied to for years.
Yeah.
And the chemical companies have more money than God could conceive. So why in the hell do you think that they're not going to try to lie to you and convince you? And they're going to have news stories on the news stations that lie to you and try to convince you, because if the news stations don't read those stories, they stop buying advertisement. So this is how you're fed all this misinformation. My uncle died of like 6 different freaking cancers because he's claimed that Agent Orange rained from the sky on him in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And he died of like 6 different cancers. I had another uncle that died from cancers because he was in Agent Orange in Vietnam. He had like 2 or 3 cancers, and they claimed for years they were waiting for a majority of these Vietnam veterans that had Agent Orange to die off, so they wouldn't have that much responsibility. And then they finally came out. I remember when they was like, no, we didn't drop that. We didn't drop it, because my Uncle Joe used to say, that's a lie. It rained from the sky. He'd hold his hands up. It rained from the sky. He's been dead for 20 years. And I can remember him doing that, and it's just, and they waited for all these guys to die before they were like, oh, yeah, we did. We did drop it, And what'd they do with Agent Orange, JJ? What'd they do? They changed the name to Roundup, and you use it. And they changed people just Google.
Seriously, is
They
that
don't
true?
want to. Yes. Yes. Agent Orange's name, basically, that's the grandfather of Roundup. It's not the same exact chemical because, after so long, the patent comes out, so they have to change one freaking molecule, and so they could keep their freaking patents on shit. That's the same way that they do with
Okay.
pharmaceutical.
So they
You know?
they use some of the chemicals, and they have like a different activator or something like that. So they kind of work
Yes.
different, but basically they both have glyphosate, and yeah, so they both use glyphosate and then like other activation chemical. Okay, well that's awful.
I'm not.
That's
I'm not.
hey,
I'm not a
listen,
crazy
it's
conspiracy
it's
person, man.
it's always believe the science, and then like 20 years later, it's like, oh, we got some of that science wrong, and now you have cancer.
Exactly. Exactly. That's how it's been. You know?
Okay. So Jeremy says that he said, "I told you so." Roundup is the origin of glyphosate, which I mentioned to you in this stream last week. Okay, all
Jeremy
right.
is a Jeremy
Yeah,
is our precog genius.
he's
So
he's
whatever Jeremy says today, we're going to be talking
he's
about 3
good.
days.
Well, don't feed it. Don't feed it. Don't feed
Do
it.
you, JJ knows Jeremy.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Have you met him before?
Yeah, it's my brother. So I'm gonna be like,
I know.
because he's told me some other stuff that I've been like, okay. I mean, maybe that's true, but it doesn't really matter because this is wrong or this is right anyway. But
I
he's
think
told me stuff that's probably true, but like,
that you don't want to. I know you a little bit. Sometimes you don't want to just swallow it.
yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't
Hang on.
know.
Hang on. I'll be right back.
Like all those things may be true, but the reason why people are doing this is generally greed or power or revenge. That's usually the motives of things. All right, so let's get off of poison rain, and let's have some other bad news. Rosario Dawson has retracted or walked back her confirmation of a Disney Plus Punisher series. She says she got her intel from fans during signings, I guess at Comic-Con. So I know a lot of people want to. Let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit. There we go. A lot of people want to see John Barenthal
Oh my God.
reprise his role as the
Yes.
Punisher, the
Yes.
company's signature-toting crime fighter, or perhaps, fortunately, depending on one's own personal feelings regarding the quality of the Disney Plus TV shows.
If
Actress
they do, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no,
If they don't bring him back, and if they cast somebody else as the Punisher, there will be riots. I mean, there will be. He's the Punisher.
he's the second
It's
best
like
Punisher ever. I mean, we also had Dolph Lundgren play it in the early
I
1980s.
love. Don't get me wrong. I love Dolph Lundgren with all my heart. I have a Dolph Lundgren body pillow that I sleep with every night.
Oh, really? Nice.
but no, John was the best and will always be the best. To me, this is it would be akin to recasting Kingpin and not having Vincent D'Onofrio or however the hell you say his last name, Private Pile. It would be the same as not casting him. So Dolph Lundgren body pillow. It's got one of those little vocal things on the inside, Jeremy,
Yeah.
that when you hit it, it says when you hit it, it goes, "I will break you."
So, so since we're on since we're on Dolph Lundgren here for a second, I'm gonna pull this up.
I love this. I
I
know
just
you're gonna
have to.
show.
And you
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I'm going to show? Do you?
yeah.
Let's
I've got
see.
this saved on my phone too.
Oh, do you? The moment
That
you
exact
find
same
out that
meme.
Dolph Lundgren is exponentially more qualified to be called a scientist than Bill Nye. Bill Nye has a bachelor's of mechanical engineering from Cornell. Dolph Lundgren has a bachelor's of chemistry from Washington State, another bachelor's of chemical engineering from Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm, has a master's in chemical engineering at the University of Sydney, and he's a Fulbright scholarship recipient from MIT. So,
I never,
gotta
when
love
people kind of were
it.
flipping out about Bill Nye there a couple of years ago and whatnot, I was always under the impression from the very beginning that he was a science entertainer. I never
Mm-hmm.
really got that he was a scientist. I always was like, well, he's like Mr. Wizard. Did you ever watch Mr. Wizard as a kid?
No, I
Mr.
never saw
Wizard was
Mr.
this
Wizard.
older guy, and the kids would come in, and he would do a little science experiment, and it was cool. And then he would go, and there was the next scene was another kid, and another science experiment, and he was Mr. Wizard, and he was a science entertainer, and that's what I thought Bill Nye was.
I want to get the toes out of the picture.
Thank you, thank
So,
you.
Dawson, who appeared in all of Marvel's Netflix series except for The Punisher as Claire Dawson, otherwise known as MCU's version of Night Nurse, has made her initial confirmation of the Frank Castle Disney Plus debut during a Q&A at a recent 2022 edition of the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, C2E2. So that was like last weekend.
I love Rosario Dawson. She's so great.
I mean, my favorite thing she's ever been in is actually Clerks 2. So,
yes. I was just thinking about her in that movie. Yes, that's great.
Aside from that, I've generally been like, okay, all right, okay, I'm disappointed.
She was Ahsoka. She was Ahsoka, and
I know, and I'm so happy for people that got to see their vision fulfilled, but I didn't care.
Okay, well, I understand, but Ahsoka to me is one of the better characters to ever come out of Star Wars.
Right? Did you feel like Rosario Dawson adequately delivered that
An
portrayal?
adult Ahsoka, yeah.
Yeah.
Her attitude is what you're. I mean, you can put anybody in makeup, but her the character's attitude from what she went through to how she would be growing up. Yeah, I thought it was really good, but she didn't have a big, huge parts.
Right.
It was like you said, it was good to see that stuff like fleshed out because I'd watched all the tunes, and I think I've said on here before that cartoons are better than any film.
I'm aware of Ahsoka. I've seen like an episode or two of the Clone Wars. I know that she starts out as a pretty like young, naive, enthusiastic.
Yeah, she's Anakin's Padawan, and he doesn't want a Padawan, and so
Right.
she has to be kind of hard headed up to him.
You know, I know that nobody knew he was
And she
Darth
goes through
Vader,
all
but
that mess.
you really have to question the judgment of somebody like Ahsoka, who spent years side by side with him and
Well,
couldn't put it together. Couldn't put
okay,
it together. Like, I think this guy's evil a little bit.
there's a Star Wars explanation for that because people have asked that exact same question about the movies. They say, "Wait a minute. The Jedi Council, all the most powerful Jedi are right here
Yeah.
and they can't see one of the most powerful evils that's
Right.
right beside them the whole
Okay.
time." And
Okay.
so they have explained that away in Star Wars lore is that Sidious was able to Palpatine, the Emperor, the bad guy, was able to mask all of that
Okay. He's got
with his force
dark force
abilities.
powers. He can make
That's
people not
how
think he's evil.
that's how powerful he was. He was able to mask all of that. So
That
that to
sounds
me is just one of those little uh because
okay. That sounds
there's a lot
incredibly
of
powerful.
becauses. Yeah, there's a lot of becauses in Star Wars. There's just
And
like, well, why did this happen? And they're like, well, because space. You're like, oh, okay.
so Darth Sidious is so powerful, he can mask his presence literally in the room with all the Jedi
With
Masters.
Yoda,
They can't
yeah,
tell.
Mace
And
Windu,
and
all of
he
them
is defeated by throwing him down a hole. Threw
go
him
down
down
a
a
hole.
hole. Fell down a hole.
He
No.
didn't die though. He didn't die. Remember, he had his own
No.
planet.
I don't understand what you're saying because he died. Darth Vader was redeemed. He died, and that was the end of Star Wars.
Thank you.
As far as I'm
That's how it
concerned,
ends. That's how
that's
it
how it
ends.
ended. That is the end of Star Wars.
Well, in the books,
Mm-mm,
JJ, that's now
mm-mm,
non-canon.
no.
Palpatine
the
got
only
cloned.
the only books that I will recognize are the ones by Timothy Zahn from 1995. That's it.
Okay,
And
all
and
right,
and and they had Mara Jade, and that was it. That's the only
yeah.
thing I will recognize. Aside from
The
that, Emperor
Yuuzhan
died.
Vog. Was that the Yuuzhan Vog or however you pronounce that?
No, no. It was Timothy Zahn had. I can't remember this. I can't remember the Grand Admiral Thrawn.
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 Yeah,
Thrawn.
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 That's right,
Thrawn.
Thrawn.
Yeah.
He is in the I don't remember if it's Clone Wars or Rebels, but he's actually in one of the one of those. There's a Star Wars guy named Dave Filoni, and so
Yeah.
when Disney acquired Star Wars, they said because Star Wars for the long time, if me and you wrote a Star Wars book and we got it approved by Lucas Media or whatnot, then it would be canon. It would be. So when Disney acquired all that, they're like, oh my God, all these freaking stories go on forever. And we want to tell the stories and we can't do all this. So we're going to say all of this is now called legends.
Hmm.
Okay. So all this stuff that y'all have invented didn't really happen. It's called
Right.
legend. And now the stuff that we're making is the real stuff. So all this stuff that y'all have invented is gone. It's just legends. So what
Right.
Dave Filoni geniusly done was as Dave Filoni was making the Clone Wars, he inserted little things in Clone Wars from the legends
Right.
to make them canon.
Right.
One of the things he did was he made Yoda face off against the spirit of Darth Bane, making Darth Bane canon. He mentioned Sith holocrons, which were legends materials then, and it became back into the Star Wars universe. So Dave Filoni did a bunch of this little bitty stuff trying to put legend
Well,
stuff that he felt needed to be back in there. And Thrawn was one of those that appeared in the cartoons that you're like, oh, that's Thrawn. That's a Chiss. That's Thrawn. And then he's, that's who he is. And you're like, yeah, that's awesome.
I was thinking I had seen a Star Wars comic book that had Thrawn. They did like a Disney Marvel did like a Star Wars comic book starring Thrawn. I think it was called Thrawn, and it was not good. Dave Filoni's a pretty legit dude, but he's in some ways involved in some of the disappointing Star Wars Disney stuff. So anyway,
I do not blame him at the very least for that. I think that if
right?
he is a part of that disappointing Disney stuff, he was probably like shaking his head and
Yeah,
being like, dude, put my name last.
yeah. I
If my
mean, you
name's
got
got to
like
be
you can
buried in
either
the middle
be
somewhere.
in it and try to fix it, or be out of it and just complain. So I guess he's
Yeah.
in it and trying to fix it. I don't know, whatever. But
most of the stuff, if you see a Star Wars thing, it's got his name
Yeah.
associated with it or whatnot. It's probably going to be pretty good if he had anything to do with it. Because I mean, I really respect the guy for as Star Wars fans got tired of the same shit over and over again. And Dave's kind of he's our only hope.
Last best hope.
Help me,
Yeah.
Dave Filoni. You're our only hope.
He's the Luke Skywalker of
He's the
Star Wars
Obi-Wan.
storytellers. All right, we got one more. We're out. I have a little hope for you. Noah Hawley offers an update on an upcoming Ridley Scott produced Alien series for FX.
Ooh.
Okay. As our readers are likely to recall, Predator isn't the only 20th Century Studios franchise with brutal extraterrestrial invaders getting a fresh take from folks at Disney and Hulu. According to a report from Deadline, the Yautja's old enemy, the Xenomorph, I guess the Yautja, is that the blue guys? Don't want to see those guys. The Yautja's old enemy, the Xenomorph, is ready for its toothy close-up as FX's TV series based on the Alien franchise is preparing to film next year. John Landgraf confirmed to the trade show that the show's creator, Noah Hawley, had delivered all of the scripts.
That's the Predator.
Oh,
that's the Predator's
okay,
race.
Okay, good.
I did not know. I didn't know that's what they were called either.
Okay.
Yeah, God, I haven't watched that Prey yet, and I want to watch it.
I see. They're just trying to hitch this story on the popularity of the Prey TV show, which apparently people like.
They failed.
It's a movie. It didn't do.
I guess they probably say that race name in the new Prey. Yeah, that's why I put it in there. That's why I didn't know it.
Maybe it is in Predator 2. I haven't seen that one since like the late 90s. The Alien TV series is said to be a blend of the first film's horror tropes with the action of James Cameron's sequel Aliens. However, it will not feature Sigourney Weaver or her character Ripley in any fashion since it takes place before she came into the picture. Yay, prequels with Ridley Scott. Oh my God, this is getting bad. It started off as good. Oh my God,
I'm okay
are we
with
descending into
Sigourney
Prometheus? I don't want to see
Sigourney
Prometheus.
Weaver's like our parents' age. She's in her 70s. She doesn't need to be in a big, huge mech suit. Get somebody else.
Yeah, you can come down and say hi to Deacon. Okay, expect a scary thrill ride set not too far in the future here on Earth. Oh, there's a toe right there. Can you see that? There's a toe.
Yes.
At the time, Hawley denied the conversation with Deadline, and that there was any liftoff to the Alien series, confessing he'd been in talks with Disney but was not yet committed. You know, Ridley. Hold on, just a second. Here, you can listen. You can listen if Deacon talks, but otherwise, I want you to be quiet for a second. Okay, come here. So Ridley. Did it fall? Okay, here. All right. So Ridley Scott did a TV show called Raised by Wolves. Stop touching that. Raised by Wolves for HBO, and that was actually a pretty good show. I think he was the producer there. So, and obviously Ridley Scott is a legendary filmmaker, the original director of Alien, and then he came back and did Prometheus or whatever. So so what do you think about seeing an alien-based TV show that takes place before the Alien franchise starts, but hopefully way after Prometheus?
Do you think it'll be way after Prometheus?
I don't know. I hope it is.
You didn't like Prometheus? I really liked that story. I really liked the story. Yeah.
I didn't watch the second one. I only watched the one where they had Guy Pearce as the CEO dude that was like a million years old or whatever. So no, I didn't like that.
I really dug that. I really did like the story. I thought it was great. I like the alien stories. I like the alien mythos. I like the Predator mythos. I liked the fact when they put those two together. That was great. They did a great job. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this. I don't have. I don't know where I could watch FX at for free. I'm not.
They have a streaming thing, I'm sure.
But I've got. I know Blackbeard and Captain Bluebeard, the pirate. I can watch it. somewhere.
Jeremy says the Prometheus sequel ruined the aliens mythos, and I
I
don't know if he
haven't
means
seen
that.
that though.
I don't know if is he talking about Prometheus 2 or 1. I don't remember what the second one was
Yeah, I
called.
don't.
I thought they
I
were.
don't.
I thought they were
Yeah, I
both
didn't
not good.
see. If there was a two, I didn't see the two, so I may have the same opinion
Yeah, it
there.
was. I don't know. It was all about that robot android thing or whatever. Anyway, all right. Well, that's all the news that we have this morning. I hope that everybody enjoyed their morning show with your two dads, and please be here tomorrow as we drink coffee and read the news and talk about the amazing things of the day, like you can't drink rainwater. Is that a microphone? It is a microphone. You want to say hi to Deacon? Yeah. There you go. That's an itty bitty. It is an itty bitty, but we don't touch it, okay? So you can just say hi. Hi. You can actually say hi to everybody, including Uncle
Hi.
Jeremy. Uncle Jeremy can hear you. Hi, Uncle Jeremy. Oh.
I love that.
Yeah. Here, let's put you over here so that you can see yourself. There. Oh, he says hi. 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 Uncle Jeremy. All right. All right.
Hang on, let me
Thanks for
see if
watching,
this will hear me.
everybody. Yeah, I need to do better self promotion, but right now I've got to find a car. I need to find a car that we can get to replace my vehicle, and I think my wife wants the new car for herself. So we got to find a car that works for her and our kids, and and we got a trade show coming up this month.
Fun,
We got just
fun.
nothing but stress around here. Okay. I can probably everything. Okay, and that's all I got for the day. We'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.